Welcome to Liberty Insights, the mortgage edition, where we bring you expert advice on investing in Portugal's luxury real estate market. For many of our clients, financing a luxury property in Portugal is a key consideration. Today we're joined by Corinne Ferreira from Sublime Mortgage to break down the mortgage process in Portugal, eligibility, and the best options available for you. Let's dive in.
A really important question to clarify the clients. Then after the meeting that I have with the client, can be online or in person, I will collect the main information regarding a financial and professional situation. After that, I will present a mortgage proposal with different mortgage options, and we will choose the best option for the client. After that, I will require the documentation mandatory by that bank for submission, and I will prepare a detailed report with all the information in terms of client's profile. After the submission, the risk department of the bank will issue a decision. And of course, we are expecting an approval, and after the approval, the next step will be the valuation of the property. It's a mandatory step. With the valuation report available, we can issue the offer letter, and we need to wait for a cold period. It's a mandatory period by the Central Bank of Portugal until the completion. And these are the main steps since the beginning of the application, since the submission, until the final deed. This question is really important to clarify the client in terms of how long you will need since the beginning until the completion. We need to control expectations because the average will be 45 days. We will need around 5 working days, up 15 days to get a decision from the risk department. Of course, this term will depend on the lender and also the complexity of the application, okay? We have application with 100 pages, we have application with 500. It depends on the client's profile. And a risk department can take more time if needs to analyze more documentation. It's normal. After the risk department issue the decision, we will need 5-7 working days to get a valuation report available. After that, we need to take care of the bank account. It can be at this stage or before, depending on the lender, insurance, and wait for the cold period, mandatory by the Bank of Portugal, since the offer letter is issued until the final deed, and that's it. Then I can tell you 45 days, 60 days will be the average. It depends on the client's profile. Then we can look at the criteria in terms of professional activity. If I am an employee, of course, I'm employed, the bank will request a permanent contract. This is important. If I am self-employed, a company owner, a shareholder, we need to prove a consistent income. On the last 2 or 3 years, we need to show that the company has a good financial performance. If I am retired, it's easier. Of course, I just need to prove my net pension, what I receive per month, per year. For all the clients, we will need the ID, Portuguese fiscal number. This is an important document. Some lenders allows us to proceed without a fiscal number, but usually 80% of the banks need a fiscal number to submit the application. A credit report, last 3 months of bank statements. In terms of other type of documentation, it will depend on the client's profile. If I am employed, we'll need my last 3 months of payslips, an employment reference letter to prove the starting date, and also a permanent contract, and the last 2 years of P60, if we are speaking about an UK client, or last 2 years of tax declaration. If I am employed or I have a company, I am shareholder, it will be different. I will need at least 2-3 years of my tax returns, personal tax returns, and also the certificate of incorporation of my company to prove the starting date, activity, and the ownership. Some lenders will request also a documentation from the company. Not all, but we have some of the important banks with good rates will request 2-3 years of corporation tax returns, accounting statements to prove the profit or loss of the companies on the last 2-3 years. Regarding retired clients, it's easier. We just need a monthly statement of the pension or annual statement. The banks can finance 80% of loan to value of the purchase price. This is the maximum for second residence. You have some banks that just finance 70%, of course, but the maximum will be 80%. In terms of interest rate, we have 3 different types of rates in Portugal currently. We have mixed rate. A mixed rate, it's a rate that starts with a fixed rate period, and you can get 2 years, 3 years, around 2.5 to 65, and you have a 5 years fixed rate that can be at 2.7, 2.8. Of course, it will depend on the lender, on the bank. But you can get 2.7 will be maybe the average for a mixed rate, to start with a fixed period and after variable rate. In terms of a variable rate, it will be the result of the Euribor rate and the margin of the bank. Usually we call it spreads, and the result will be around 3% currently. Mixed. I think a mixed rate, it's perfect, because you know that in that years you will be comfortable, secure, you know that will be debt installment, nothing will change. It's so many things happening in the world. And with 20 years of experience, we had hard time with clients, you know, when the Euribor achieved 5%. It isn't easy. Then if you can sleep well, you know what will happen. Some of the clients want to repay the mortgage early and they can save money on that years. I think a mixed rate, it's always the best. But I have clients that prefer variable rate. The profile is to risk. I always show them how it happens in the last 20 years. They need to be aware, of course. But if they feel comfortable to proceed with a variable rate, a fixed rate for the full term is not the best option, because it's too expensive. And now the Euribor is around 2.3, then it's not a good option. Mortgage to purchase for main residence, second residence, investment. You have also solutions for remortgage. If you are not happy with your current mortgage and you want to search a better mortgage option, we can do it. If I want also equity release, cash extraction, we can have it. That's important. I have already a property in Portugal, free of mortgage. I need some liquidity. for a startup business, to buy a land, to buy other property. We can use that property as a security for the mortgage. We have also a product for construction. If I want to build a property in Portugal also, we have available this solution. And these are the main products that we have available. Then in terms of age, the maximum age at the end of the mortgage cannot exceed 75 or 80 years. It depends on the bank. In terms of term, the maximum for non-international client will be 30 years, and with the exception from 1 or 2 lenders, it can be 35. A really important question, because of course I am Portuguese, I want to buy a main residence, I can get the 90% of loan to value, but I don't need to be Portuguese to have access to the 90%. Example, I am a UK client, I live already in Portugal, and I am tax resident. I have already my income declared in Portugal. I am able to present at least one tax declaration that I submitted in Portugal. I can get 90%. I don't need to be Portuguese to get the 90%. I'm living in Portugal. I declare my income in Portugal. I want to buy a main residence. I can get the 90%. Then I think this question is important. And I think that's the only difference, because in terms of rate and criteria will be the same. Yes, of course. Then the secret ingredient is the homework. We need to prepare, it's like a teamwork between me and the client. We need to prepare the application to submit with the full documentation and information. Detail all the documentation required by the bank. If we can get the file organized, complete and submitted, we will have a quicker decision and also an approval. The chances to get an approval with the correct preparation of the file will be higher. And it's also important the relation that the mortgage advisor has with the banks and the established relation with the branch director. It helps a lot. First of all, to deal with a mortgage broker with experience in banking industry and specialize in mortgage for international buyers. After, we need to prove a consistent income. If possible, to reduce debts. What I mean about that, small loans, credit cards, if they can be repaid before submission, it will help us in terms of affordability. And also to save for significant down payment, it will help to reduce the risk of the application. And at the end, but also important, to prepare correctly the application in terms of documentation and detailed information about financial and professional situation.
Thank you so much, Corinne, for sharing your expertise with us today.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity.
If you are considering a luxury property in Portugal and would like some mortgage advice, please feel free to reach out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights from Liberty Real Estate. See you next time.